Hello there everyone, welcome back to another video about the One Piece card game. Today I'm going to be talking about my tournament report and my top deck profile. I topped the Championship Online Regionals that took place this weekend. And I'm going to be giving my tournament report, I'm going to be talking through the list. And what I want to say at the very beginning here is I have today, as you're seeing this, on my Patreon uploaded an in-depth guide to Rebecca. I promise you, this deck cooks. If you have not tried it, give it a go. If you want to learn how to play it, check out that guide. I think it's really, really useful. It's stuff like matchup knowledge, like how the deck works, key cards, what you should be searching for in different mulligans and different matchups. So please do check that out. I think it's really, really good value. It's literally £5 a month, like $5, so it's like less than £5 a month. So please do give that a look. I'd really appreciate the support. But with that being said, I'm going to first give you the deck list because I assume that's what you're all here for, because that's what I would be here for, and then I will give my tournament report and just sort of generally talk through how the event was. So, yeah, as I said, we're playing Rebecca. Turns out drawing 2 a turn is quite good. We play 4 copies of the GOAT Luffy. Yep, this deck would not function without this card. Then, of course, we've got 4 copies of the beautiful Sabo, which I spent far too much money on. Then we've got 1 copy of Cavendish. We've got 4 copies of Orlumbus, which is going to go slightly onto my microphone there. Oh, okay, well, yeah, you know, it's fine. Then we've got 4 copies of Kyros, 4 copies of Bartolomeo, 4 copies of Idio, 4 copies of Rebecca, 4 copies of Gyatz, 3 copies of Leo, 2 copies of Kaya, 3 copies of 3000 Worlds, 2 Trino Bastardo, 2 Six King Pistol, 2 King Kong Gun, and the obligatory 3 copies of Corrida Coliseum. So that's the list. You can see it. Feel free to screenshot and run away. But let's go ahead and talk through the actual event, and then I'll sort of discuss the deck as we go. So I went 7-2 overall, and I placed 29th out of 512. I am a little bit annoyed, honestly, because 7-2 was good enough for top 16. And when I lost, both my opponents were like XO. Or X1, right? So they had good tiebreakers. I lost round 3 and I lost round 6. So I was like, well, you know, these people are probably going to win more games than they did. My round 3 loss ended up winning 1 more game in the rest of the tournament. And my round 6 loss ended up losing every single round after that. So he was 5-0 and then he went 0-4 in the next 4 rounds. Sorry, 6-0 and then he went 0-3 in the last 3. So that was great. So basically scuppered my tiebreakers completely. Could have had an extra Whitebeard as a prize, but it is what it is. Round 1, I played against Law and I won. Round 2, I played against Whitebeard and I won. Round 3, I played against Vivi and I lost. I have some things to say about that. Round 4, I played against Whitebeard and I won. Round 5, I played against Whitebeard and I won. Round 6, I played against Law and I lost. Round 7, I played against Whitebeard and I won. Round 8, I played against Katakuri and I won. And round 9, I played against Whitebeard and I won. So, let's go through this. So the sort of thoughts on the wins of the day. As you can see, I was Oyaji's worst nightmare. The deck it's just crazy into Whitebeard. It absolutely slams Whitebeard between all the cheap blocker removal you have inbuilt, particularly Cavendish, and the fact that Orlumbus, best card in the deck, lets you reach all 5 costs and below, and the fact that Luffy lets you close out games with ease. It's just crazy. It's worth saying that I actually didn't play a single Luffy in 2 of my Whitebeard games as well, and just won through other units, and King Kong Gun being kind of a good card. The Katakuri game was immensely stressful because I had basically no counter value whatsoever, and on turn 4 I think I took 3 life, so I was down to 1, which was awful. But I was able to send them from 4 to dead in 1 turn thanks to a double King Kong Gun and playing around Thunderbolt and how I structured my attacks. Basically I had an Orlumbus, I had a Sabo, and I had I think it was Luffy out on the board. It was yeah, I think it was Luffy out on the board. And the way I did it is I King Kong Gunged Orlumbus, Swang, and I'd saved the second one to see what had happened. I'd also seen my opponent put 2 cards to the bottom of life that game, so I was like, okay, well, whatever they are, they're going to be something that's annoying. I assumed they were Thunderbolts or something. And then on the next attack, I swung with Sabo in case they were, with another King Kong gun to deal the next 2 damage, because my opponent was not able to stop an 11k swing with Olympus, so I logically was like, well, if you can't stop that, you probably can't stop the 12 from Sabo. It may have been safer to do a 13, and I would have lost a little bit out on the Luffy value. I'm still not 100% sure what was the best call there, but I went for a 12, and he wasn't able to stop it. And then I was able to close it out with 2 10k swings from Luffy. But yeah, that Katakuri game was pretty crazy. And then the law match, round 3, while stressful, round 1, was primarily close because my opponent saw like everything. Like it's 3 blocker laws, 2 restand laws, like a rush Luffy, like literally the top end he saw was crazy. Literally everything he needed, but obviously I was able to see my control and it was fine. The thoughts on the losses. The VV was not what I was expecting. I had never played against VV, but as far as I understood it, the deck was a red core with a blue supplement. But this was very much a blue core with the good red cards thrown in. And as a result, it just absolutely creams Rebecca. Because, yeah, Blue Croc and apparently blue focused VV are just impossible for this deck to deal with. My board kept getting bounced. I wasn't able to stick anything. My Luffys were bot decked. Yeah, it was just absolutely terrible. The game wasn't even primarily close, to be honest. To be fair, I think I probably also played it quite badly because I just didn't know what to do in that matchup. I wasn't expecting a lot of the stuff that happened, and maybe if I'd had more experience in playing into VV, especially in blue focused VV, I would have been able to take that game, but as it is, I just lost it due to my own inexperience. The loss to Law was also interesting because this was an unorthodox list, making use of the X-Drake starter deck card and Urouge from the starter deck. And this makes the deck really good against Rebecca because 2s and 4s are functionally 5s. And the bigger thing is he was able to aggro me down really effectively because he saw double Urouge by turn 2 or turn 3. So he was like, he had them, they were 5ks, was 6ks with the Don on his turn, but sort of more annoyingly, I just wasn't seeing my removal. Like I had the Olympus, but I had no Kuroses and I had no Leos. I was only seeing the big stuff removal, which obviously you want to save for the laws. So it just felt, I didn't see the Cavendish either, so it just felt really, really bad that I basically wasn't able to do anything into that game, because it was definitely winnable. I just think, yeah, sadly, I just didn't see the removal as I needed to, and it is what it is. But I think credit deserved entirely for choosing to play Urouge because it was really, really good into things like Rebecca. I just wish he'd won his next 2 games, so I could have had a better tiebreaker, but there you go. So is there anything I'd change about this deck? At the moment, no. I think, I've seen lots of lists floating around with Garp and Tenkos Kuzan, but I think those lists will definitely suffer from a severe lack of counter power, or they'll be losing things like the events. And losing the events really sucks, because also don't forget, like Garp, like, yeah, it's a body, but you're also losing a card from your hand to use it. So, yeah, for each turn you're able to land it and combo it with Olympus, it's crazy, but if your opponent deals with it immediately, it's kind of rough. There's lots of ways to deal with 5 costs in the format as well. So, I don't know, it's just one of those things. And I would like to explore those lists, and I will try them out, but honestly, the deck felt really, really good, even though I whiffed a search today, and then yesterday rather, and then there was, bricks and stuff. And I think I piloted it really well, and if I'd been slightly luckier, or if, I hadn't played against VV round 3, or I had seen the removal against Law round 6, I think I absolutely could have gone A1. To be honest, I definitely think, I could have gone XO if my matchups had been slightly better. If I'd played Zoro instead of both those 2 games, I think I would have gone 9-0, and I think I would have won the whole thing. That's not sort of a cocky statement. I just think, those matchups are more advantageous. Equally, I fully concede I only played against 1 Katakuri. I didn't play against Blue Croc whatsoever, so my matchups were hardly bad. But I think, a lot of what comes down to actually winning an event, especially online where it's only best of 1, and it's not like a day 2, is just fundamentally, like, do you see good matchups, and are you a good player? And I think I'm a good player, and I think my matchups weren't perfect. Because you see what the Law who won played into, and there was, you imagine they basically just dodged every Rebecca. So it is what it is. Or dodged, a lot of the Zoros. But anyway, I'm rambling here. Overall, I'm really I'm really happy with my performance in the event. Online regionals are always a bit weird, and there's always stressing about the opponent cheating, so you're always like watching like a hawk, and that takes a mental toll as well. But to be honest, my matchups were very good on the whole. Only 1 Katakuri, major pleasant surprise. 5 Whitebeards, less of a pleasant surprise, though obviously I cooked all 5 of them, so that was fine. I think Rebecca is an incredibly strong deck. Personally, I think it's the best deck in the format. It's either Rebecca or Law. And it takes a lot of practice to start seeing results, especially when you're playing into all these sort of weirder matchups and you sort of have to know exactly how to structure your deck, and you've got to be like trying to remember everything that's at the bottom and what order it's showing up and all that sort of stuff. But honestly, as long as you're seeing blue that isn't Nami, you're not seeing blue that isn't Nami, so i.e. you're not seeing blue Croc and like Vivi, and ideally Queen as well, you can just, you know, cook basically everything else. But it's really great time to play this deck. It's a really great time to play this deck, and every win felt rewarding and it felt earned. It didn't feel like I just cheesed any of them. I have 2 more championship events this year. One's in the Netherlands, one's in the Netherlands in about 2 weeks, and then the UK in 4 weeks. That's a 1,000-man event, so the UK one's going to be a little crazy, but I'm hoping to do well in the Netherlands one. I'll be taking this to both. Honestly, it might be an identical list. I don't really know if there's anything I'd change. I'll keep testing and I'll see if there is anything. But honestly, it probably will just be the same list. You know, there's a chance I switch up to Law, I guess, which is an all-time favourite, which I got top 16 with, and I got this first playmat with that. But yeah, overall, I'd like to win a serial Shanks this season. I think I'm good enough to do it, and I would like to do it. I think it's a long time coming. But yeah, that's it for the deck profile and for the tournament report. If you're interested in getting a more in-depth guide to exactly matchups and all that sort of stuff, as I said, check out my Patreon. It is linked in the description of this video, so please do give that a look. On the Patreon, I have recorded all my tournament games, so I will look into hopefully uploading those games, potentially without any audio or anything, just to get them up. But they're just there as a resource to look at for how I played on my Patreon, so you should check that out. But there we go, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more One Piece card game content, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Cheers.